11-minute movie wastes time on some kind of Goonies never-ending story kid in the attic bullshit.
On a night much like this.
On a night much like this cliche. Movie saves a few bucks by using B-roll from the Mummy and 300 franchises for the flashback.
The Freemasons among our founding fathers left us clues like these.
The founding fathers spent centuries protecting the treasure, but f it, let's put clues on our money, because what foreigner would ever see U.S. money?
They're speaking to us through these.
You mean laughing at us?
There's pretty much no way he heard that. Also, Christopher Plummer is playing Jon Voight's dad, and he's like 9 years older than Jon Voight. Sean Bean isn't dying in this scene.
Why would the captain be guarding this barrel?
Is there any reason to believe he was guarding it? This ship has been tossed around all over the place, and the captain managed to stay in the exact position he was in when he died?
Ben, I thought you said that the treasure would be on the Charlotte. I said it could be here.
This guy bankrolled this expedition without fully understanding it. I'm gonna be a villain later face.
Mr. Matlack can't offend. It's a riddle.
Ben's team is befuddled that a secret society that left puzzling clues and vague riddles would leave another riddle to solve.
Mr. Matlack can't offend.
Geez, with the clues of Matlack and 55 in Iron Pen, an historian like Gates should have thought Declaration of Independence almost immediately.
All you're going to be is a hindrance.
Redcoats. You know, it's incredibly convenient that this ship had all this gunpowder, but considering the conditions in which it was kept, for a century or more, the cold conditions of the Arctic, it's amazing it still burns. Get down! Ben and Riley survive this explosion because reasons. Sean Bean steals the Sean Bean from GoldenEye and doesn't make sure the hero is dead. And how did they survive? Well, by climbing further down into the bowels of the ship so even more snow and debris and shit could fall on top of them harmlessly.
Is it really so hard to believe that someone's gonna try to steal the Declaration of Independence?
Yes. Yes, it is. While waiting to tip off the museum chick about the possible Declaration theft, Ben just happens to spy a brochure to the perfect Declaration stealing type event.
But when a long train of abuses and usurpations...
Gates recites passages from the Declaration of Independence to justify stealing the Declaration of Independence. John Hancock was a dick to space.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
Hey, let's go to the Lincoln Memorial to continue talking about this.
The only way to protect the Declaration is to steal it.
Are you f***ing kidding me? Tell the FBI, and then tell them who Ian is. Then sit back and watch. If he steals it, fine. They know exactly who has it, and they will find him. If he doesn't, problem solved. But in no way in the realm of common sense do you actually have to steal it in order to protect it.
Stealing a national monument.
It's not like that at all. It's more like stealing a painting from a museum. And come on, like that's never been done before.
Best time for us or Ian to steal it would be during the gala. The
70th anniversary gala just happens to coincide with Ben's treasure hunting plans.
When the guards are distracted by the VIPs.
Ben talks about the security of an event he has never attended and the internal workings of a preservation he has never witnessed, and presents it as hard facts. Also, the museum that has temperature sensors and bulletproof glass protecting the document just quits giving all f***s about security when it's document cleaning time. That totally makes sense.
The gala. This might be possible.
Gates said there would be much less security, which is presumably still a significant amount of security, but nervous Riley suddenly changes his mind to, this is so doable now. Restricted important power room is unlocked and completely unrestricted. Damn, it's like they want someone to try and steal the document, publishing all this information about the encasement and security features. There's a green laser getting shot at the Declaration of Independence and no one notices it. So Ben went through security, pulling off his tool belt, and that's it. But he's got a watch on too. How'd he get through the metal detector with that shit?
Here's to the men who did what was considered wrong in order to do what they knew was right. What they knew was right.
Dude, might as well just say, I'm gonna steal the Declaration tonight.
Velfgov-Ray.
Valley Forge.
Oh, come on. High-tech security systems at the National Archives are using passwords tantamount to password.
Valley Forge. I don't have that on my computer.
It's Valley Forge. You pressed the L twice.
Also, did the computer genius not program his anagram software to take keys being used multiple times into account? Wait, Riley's the one who caused the Declaration to be taken downstairs for a checkup when he f***ed with the temperature sensors. So, how the hell were Ian and crew planning to get it? How the hell did they even know to end their elaborate break-in path at the downstairs sensor-checking room?
Do you have a Paul Brown on that list?
No, not here.
Museum chick gets curious because, of course, Gates had to act all weird and give her a cryptic apology. Otherwise, this doesn't happen. But I guess then we wouldn't have much of a movie or a shoehorn romantic subplot, so whatever. Wait just a goddamn minute. You planned this high-tech heist for weeks, down to the smallest detail, and you're using a fake name, but you brought your f***ing wallet with you? You cannot present Ben Gates as this uber genius and then hinge the entire plot of the film on him doing something so mind-numbingly stupid as to bring his own credit card, which of course he ends up having to use. There's clearly a car in this far lane next to the bus, but then the van veers over there to avoid the bus, and voila, magic disappearing car. Also, not Nicolas Cage is not Nicolas Cage.
This is what we need.
Real desired object was replaced with a fake one cliché. Also, what a stroke of luck that Ben was trying to hide from Abigail, went into this souvenir shop, and then ended up buying an extra Declaration after this hilarious exchange with the register girl. girl.
We got a tip several days ago that someone was going to steal the Declaration of Independence. We didn't find the information credible.
How about now?
You probably also got a tip that Nazi zombie hookers from space hell were going to land in Wichita this week. Seriously, are we going to give the FBI agent grief over this? The tip was 2 people walking into an office with a crazy story and no evidence. This website tells us that Ben Franklin wrote the letters in 1722 when he was 15, but he was born in 1706, and he would have had to be 16, especially since he was born in January.
When Ben Franklin was only 15 years old, he secretly wrote 14 letters to his brother's newspaper,
which just so happened to have a key to the treasure? Who entrusts treasure clues to a 15-year-old? Especially someone who wasn't exactly rich, famous, or in any way special at the time.
Treasure is a myth.
The cake is a lie, am I right? Also, male main character doesn't get along with his father cliché. Guy who respects the Declaration enough to steal it and had set up a full chemical clean room to run tests on it decides, F it, let's just put lemon juice on that shit.
And someone who's trained to handle antique documents is gonna do it.
With the lemon juice method, I'm not really sure it matters who has more expertise using the actual laboratory methods.
So, Dad, where are the letters?
Even though Ben and his dad haven't spoken in some time, it's amazing that an ace historian like him somehow missed a big news story that his dad donated the letters to the Franklin Institute.
I donated them to the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia.
But don't worry, we can still Google them, right?
There is no treasure. I wasted 20 years of my life.
Did you happen to have a Declaration of Independence cipher during those 20 years? You had virtually no clues during your so-called search. What the hell were you using?
Don't worry, Mr. Gates. We'll find your car. And your son.
And we definitely won't question you any further about being an accomplice despite all the circumstantial evidence and your shifty behavior, in case you confused it with Philadelphia, El Salvador. So here's where Ian decided to go to Philadelphia to check out the Silence Dogood letters without knowing what's on the back of the Declaration of Independence or why the letters matter. But thanks to sheer crazy amazing timing, he's here at the same time Ben is and will luck his way into the knowledge he needs.
Last one, okay?
Last one? You're writing all this down on paper, right? He doesn't need to memorize these codes, so why not just write the whole thing down and get all the answers at once? The whole reason this is done is so Ian can catch up, and it's totally dumb. Riley is a dick to kids. For the sake of cute movie moments, clothing stores will now have side-by-side co-ed dressing rooms with a hilarious lack of privacy.
2:22.
What time is it now?
Almost 3.
What I know is that daylight savings wasn't established until World War I.
Okay, great. An amazing fact about daylight savings time makes it so they don't have to wait another day to find out what happens at 2:22 at the Liberty Bell. Problem is, the picture of Independence Hall on the back of the $100 bill didn't show up until 1928, long after World War I.
Do you actually know who the first person to suggest daylight savings was?
Benjamin Franklin.
Did Benjamin Franklin also use the pseudonym George Vernon Hudson?
Top results, Liberty Bell and Independence Hall.
Bad guy crew solves the riddle in seconds with only the last 4 letters. Independence Hall has no camera system in place to monitor and protect it. Also, security mistakes 320 for 420 and is nowhere to be found during Ben's easy access to the clock tower. Boy, if not for this ragingly sunny day, these guys would be f***ed. If there's a brick with a big honking Freemason symbol on it, you really don't need to be there at the perfect time. You could pretty much figure this out just by knowing how the sun moves and where it would normally be at the right time. Walk down, find this symbol, and be on your way. How did they not pass Abigail and Riley on their way down? Ian doesn't even take one look at the bell. He just walks over to the place where he can see the shadow, even though he has no clue that's important. Also, we can have a I hope Ben isn't still down there moment. There is no f***ing need to unroll this thing right here, right now. Or to look at the back of it while inside a public place. They could easily go somewhere safe to do this, but they vote for idiocy. In the middle of using the magic Ben Franklin spectacles to look at the hidden message on the Declaration of Independence inside the home where it was signed, notorious history geek Benjamin Gates manages to look up and out the window through the tiny slit in the curtains just in time to see 2 of Ian's goons walking by.
Victor, meet me at 5th and Chestnut.
These bad guys already have the street names of Philadelphia memorized.
Follow me!
Idiots. Come on, this guy is savvy enough to memorize the streets of the city instantly after arriving, but dense enough to leave his gun exposed in a public farmer's market. Gunfire in a public cemetery? I know it's silenced, but it's also broad f***ing daylight. It's not a puffed up time-filling chase scene unless the bad guys can't shoot for shit.
Yeah, I've got them. They're heading towards City Hall.
Jesus, this evil henchman must be from Philadelphia. Bad guys had no problem shooting at him in a public cemetery, but a deserted public sidewalk? No f***ing way, man. Asshole villain just happens to be taking a stroll right around the area Abigail loses the tube.
Let him go.
But why? You've lost Gates, and while you have the Declaration, you know you don't have everything you need.
Is there a door that doesn't lead to prison?
Only in the movies, Ben. Only in the movies. Wait, FBI guy helpfully shows Gates the hidden abilities of the spectacles. Man, this movie should be called National Ex Machina.
And tell the FBI agents listening in on this call.
Bad guy mentions he knows about the agents listening in, so we understand how smart he is, cliché. Obvious gun is actually a static maker? Seems like the FBI would know about such things and be able to combat them, but whatever. Plot must move somehow. Well, I guess the FBI just had to let him go and consider him a non-suspect, otherwise he wouldn't have been free for Ian to kidnap. Things like security, locked doors, and general observations continue to elude public places in this movie.
Why does that never happen to me?
You mean why do museum archivists whom you kidnapped during a heist never kiss you after both you and her have been kidnapped by evil people? They survived this.
Do you trust me?
Yes.
Why? You've known him for like 2 days, and pretty much all he's done was lie, cheat, and steal. Oh, and kiss you. Damn, the power of female boners is stronger than I realized. Obviously not Nicolas Cage is actually quite glad to be doing this stunt, and not having to step in during one of his dangerous overacting scenes.
Hang on!
Unnecessary encouragement.
See you, Ben.
Somehow Ian decides that they're telling the truth about Boston, but doesn't take the declaration or any of the items with him, just in case they might still be handy to Ben.
The all-seeing eye.
Another curious thing about Ian leaving is him not inspecting the room thoroughly before taking off. This eye clue is so obvious that they would have never bought that bullshit story about Boston. Despite the fact that this treasure hunt has been a true test of patience, Ben looks defeated immediately, as if there's no way these Freemason assholes were once again throwing yet another obstacle in the way of finding the treasure.
Really thought I was going to find the treasure.
Movie thinks we're going to buy this fake out there is no treasure bullshit. Oh shit, see, that's what happens when you don't inspect a room at all and just give up immediately. Also, it sure was lucky that Ian left Ben with the pipe. Seemingly unimportant to the plot anymore, it came out of nowhere when Ian made his deal with Ben, and lo and behold, it's important again. No one in Ben's treasure hunting party is gasping, commenting, or otherwise making excited noises that the treasure is on the other side. Ben finds a dish of flammable liquid and lights it on fire, because there's no way there could be any booby traps or anything down here, right? I mean, turned out he was alright doing it, and he discovered this fancy lighting system, but couldn't he just as easily have blown up?
You know, the Templars and the Freemasons believed...
Lead FBI guy just happens to be connected to the Freemasons in a surprise no one saw coming, nor is important to the plot.
Someone's got to go to prison, man.
Well, if you've got a helicopter, I think I can help with that.
Yep, this is how law enforcement works. Totally. You're the one who stole it, but as long as we have some kind of criminal hanging around who is also planning to steal it, we'll just arrest him and let you go. Ian's been smart and resourceful the whole movie, but decided to take this trip without an ounce of research or thought. Wait, Sean Bean doesn't die in this movie? Does he at least die in the sequel?
Got you on kidnapping, attempted murder, and trespassing on government property.
And for being a no-good dirty Brit. Also, Ben Gates did at least 2 of those things also, but we're looking the other way for that guy because he's the protagonist. Oh, f*** you, movie. They flew Ben all the way to Boston with the FBI guys just so he could have a satisfying victory-savoring moment over Ian.
They offered you 10%, you turn it down.
Riley, we've been over this. It was too much.
Movie tries too hard to make us believe that nobody got any money for this, just so they can give us a surprise reveal later that they took 1%, which is still a load of money.
What do you care? You got the girl.
It's true.
It's true.
New lovers are almost always faces.
I wasted 20 years of my life.
It's a riddle.
It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma.
I hope it's not from Stan.
Dear mister, I'm too good to call and write my fence. This'll be the last package I ever send your ass.
Subway.
$5. It is surrounded by guards and video monitors and little families from Iowa.
The system detects any increase in temperature. Even the body heat of an unauthorized person in the room will trigger it if the temperature rises just a single degree. Now, inside the Black Vault, there are 3 systems operating whenever the technician is out of the room. The 3rd system is on the floor and is pressure sensitive.
And bring those glasses you found at Independence Hall.
Still trying to butch up by chewing on your glasses, huh? This, gentlemen, as they say, is where the plot thickens.
Yeah, I'm supposed to believe that.
And tell the FBI agents listening in on this call.
Who from the FBI is in the van, I wonder? Let's see, almost certainly Cross. Come on, Andrew, say hello.
Hello.
What was the secret?
Events are designed to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security.
Nerd.
How do a bunch of guys with hand tools build all this?
Same way they built the pyramids.
Yeah. The aliens helped them.
Compile a family and friends list. Closest relative first.
Come here.
Wait a second, never happened to me.
Get positive IDs and search everyone, including the security staff. If they refuse, take the butt of your gun and smash their nose in. Drops him right to the floor. Everyone jumps. He falls down screaming, blood squirts out of his nose.